So if you can capture their attention right away in that subject line, well, that's a great way to make sure that they're gonna open up that email and play the video. We'll talk about subject lines, but I always recommend putting video in the subject line. You'll see why. Now, if you are sending videos with BombBomb through Gmail or Outlook, we have an integration so that you can send your videos directly inside of Gmail and Outlook. And if you are sending from in there, number one, you want to make sure that you have text above the video, okay? Couple reasons. Number one, you want to use that text to tell them to play the video. The other reason why you want to make sure you have text above the video is that a lot of inboxes will start to pull a preview past your subject line, okay? And whatever text you have there is what they're gonna pull. If you just have a video in the email and no text, it might start to pull the video code and it's gonna make your subject line look spammy because you'll have the subject line and then a whole bunch of random code, okay? So you wanna make sure that you always have text above the video. Now, then you're gonna have the video right there in the center of the email. I'm gonna give you thumbnail strategies, but that's obviously the meat of it. And then the last thing that you need to do in your Gmail, your Outlook, your BombBomb emails is you need to put text below the video, and you wanna watch the screen to see why this is so important. If you do not put text below the video, sometimes their inbox truncates the message, right? You get those dreaded 3 dots. But as long as you always put text below the video, it's gonna display that entire email with your thumbnail image, okay? So again, you always put text below the video so that you don't lose the video thumbnail and have those dreaded 3 dots, okay? If you have ever sent a client a video and they responded and they're like, I didn't see a video in there, it's probably because their inbox did that, all right? And then of course your call to action, you always want to be very clear of what you want the next step to be. Reply to this email with some dates and times it works for us to meet, or reply to this email, or click this link and go to my website. Be very, very clear about what you want that next step to be, okay? So this is just a screenshot of what a good video email looks like. I'm gonna give you some thumbnail strategies, but after I've met someone and they give me their business card, I'm always gonna use that in the GIF because now they know it's personal right away. You see I've got text above it. I've got my subject line, video for Danny. I'm very clear, so nice to meet you in Dallas. I've got the text above. We take the first 3 seconds of your video and we loop it into that automated GIF so you don't have to do anything there. Those first 3 seconds. And then all I put below that video was just Happy Friday. But that's enough to make sure that my video doesn't get truncated, okay? So let's talk about subject lines for just a second. Sense of urgency. This is a really, really good way to make sure they open up the email. Personalization. If you can make that subject line personal to them, it is going to capture their attention when they're scrolling. Putting video in the subject line. This is a really great way to make sure that they open the email. And if you put the recipient's first name in the subject line, it increases open rate by 26%, okay? We are psychologically drawn to our names. So if you're scrolling through your inbox and you see video for and your name, guess what? You're gonna open that. So I just took a screenshot from my mobile app of my inbox and you can see video for Andrea, I didn't forget about you. Video for Tia, it was so nice to meet you in Boston. Video for Dan, I just left you a voicemail, right? This is a really compelling way to make sure that they're opening up the email and then actually watching your video. All right, so let's talk about YouTube again. Visibility beats ability. Just because you have spent time making an incredible video to market your business and putting it on YouTube doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get played. So, the things that are important for YouTube. Number one, thumbnails. What do you see there in all of those thumbnails that jump out at you? Number one, it's faces. Faces, faces, faces. If you are spending time making a thumbnail that has just a logo or something like that, you are doing yourself a disservice. Because again, we're drawn to faces. YouTube is going to rank good thumbnails that have a human face higher than other thumbnails. The other thing that YouTube really, really looks for in those thumbnails is text on that video thumbnail. You see this. Turn $50 into $100 a day. Execution is the key. Good salespeople versus great salespeople. That video thumbnail is letting people know right away some of the value that they are going to get. The other thing that's really important with your YouTube videos is that you title it in the way that people search, okay? YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. People go... I gotta compete with a party, man. So people go to YouTube to look for information. They wanna find out how to do things. So Karen Carr, one of our video influencers that built her entire business on YouTube, she titles her videos for things like, moving tips for relocating to Savannah, or 5 things every buyer needs to know, because people are going to YouTube to search for that kind of information, okay? So you want to make sure you have a face visible, you want to make sure that you have text on that thumbnail, and you want to make sure that you are titling your videos with short, good titles that people search for, okay? There's a great tool called Canva, and they have a YouTube thumbnail creator so that you can get the text on there. It's a free app. They do have upgraded paid versions, but you can use this for free, and it'll build that really great YouTube thumbnail for you, okay? Just checking on my time here. I have no idea what time it is. Another thing, thank you. How much time did you say? Oh, I'm great. Another thing you want to make sure that you're doing is putting your YouTube videos into playlists, okay? YouTube's recommendations drive 70% of YouTube videos. Now, when your video ends on YouTube, they are automatically going to suggest another video. But that may not necessarily be your video. It might be a competitor's video. But if you build your playlists, you put your videos in playlists in YouTube, then the next video it's gonna play is always yours. So playlists, really, really important, okay? Now let's talk about Facebook and Instagram, okay? Because you've got the text, you've got the autoplay, and that's about all you get. So you wanna make sure that the text that you are putting in those social media videos actually is piquing people's curiosity. You see Jesse Peters here doing this really well. Are you on the hunt for your first place? Or perhaps you're curious about owning an investment property, right? And then he says in the text, did you just nod your head to this? He's piquing people's curiosity right away. And then again, because those videos autoplay, you want to make sure that the first thing they see is a human being. You don't want to start those videos with a static shot or a logo or anything like that, because it's humans that actually capture people's attention, okay? And then the last thing, people ask all the time about BombBomb, do you guys have closed captions or subtitles? It's less important for personal video when you're sending them in an email, but this is a really helpful thing for social media because people are just scrolling, right? And that video is auto-playing. But if you put captions on your videos for social media, those captions can be a great way to stop the scroll and actually capture their attention, okay?